In this video, we're going to discuss early stopping. First, we'll go over an example of early stopping, and then we'll discuss early stopping in PyTorch. Again, we're going to use our overfitting example. This will be for demonstration purposes, but technically, this should be done randomly. So we have the outliers in our data. So usually, we have some training data, and we use that training data to train the model to minimize a total loss or cost function. So we have the loss surface, and we minimize accordingly. In early stopping, for every iteration, we'll take our model, and then we'll calculate the loss using our validation data. So for the first iteration, we have a cost or total loss of 100. Then we'll save the model. Then we'll calculate the next iteration, and we'll take the model obtained from that iteration and calculate the cost on the validation data. We'll compare it for the previous saved model. In this case, the total loss or cost is smaller, so we'll save this model instead. We'll repeat for the next iteration. We'll use the value. We'll calculate the total loss or cost on the validation data, and we'll compare it. The loss from the second iteration is smaller, so we'll disregard this model. We'll repeat it for the next iteration. We'll calculate the cost in the validation data. In this case, the cost is smaller, so we'll save this model instead. Then we'll proceed to the final iteration. In this case, the cost is larger, so we'll use the value of the model obtained from the fourth iteration. So let's see one way to do this in PyTorch. So we'll create a dataset object. So in the lab, we're going to do everything the same, but we'll also have validation data, and we can obtain this by setting the argument train equals to false. So everything else is pretty much the same, except we'll have this value min loss, which will be an initialization variable. We'll calculate the loss on the validation data. Now let's take a closer look at this conditional statement. In this line, we'll take our loss value calculated at this iteration on the validation data and compare it to the minimum loss value obtained from all previous iterations. If the loss is greater, we'll skip this step, but if the loss is smaller, we'll set it to our new minimum loss value. We'll also save the model state dictionary. There's several other ways to save your models in PyTorch, but I find this way the simplest. We can also load the model by creating a model object and using the method loadStateDict and torch.load. We can make a prediction, and let's plot out the predicted values and compare it to our outliers. We can see the line in blue using early stopping performs much better than the line using the maximum number of iterations. And